Go yonder, and gather the people. Tell all the people that peace is a come. Tell all the nations their weapons are needed. Tell all the people that peace is a come. Go yonder, and gather.
Hello, I'm Pat Wand, co-chair of the Museum of the Peace Corps Experience, and I am delighted to welcome you to the Posting Peace exhibit in ArtReach Gallery in Portland, Oregon. The Museum of the Peace Corps Experience worked with ArtReach Gallery to create this exhibit in order to celebrate 60 years of Peace Corps. We've done that by a collection of 50 posters published by Peace Corps and other groups over the past 60 years. We hope that this exhibit helps many people who may not be familiar with Peace Corps, come to know not just the program and its fundamental commitment to service, but also the ideals that underpin Peace Corps, like that commitment to service, like focusing on a life of peace building, and fundamental to everything, respect for the dignity of every human being. Most posters in this exhibit were published by the Peace Corps Agency. We have several, however, that were created and published by other nonprofit organizations. For example, Peace Corps Poland and the 1987 Beyond War Award poster. Peace as Policy is another example. It was published by West Cascade Peace Corps Association. That mantra, Peace as Policy, in my mind, conveys a fundamental American ideal, and in many respects, the foundation of Peace Corps. I happened to be living in Eugene, Oregon, when in 1986 we planned a symposium to celebrate the 25th anniversary of Peace Corps. We chose this theme, Peace as Policy, and asked a local graphic designer, who was also a returned volunteer, to create a poster with the colors reminiscent of red, white, and blue. And I must admit, this poster remains one of my favorites, even 35 years later. Here is a poster that begins with the peace symbol. We see it tumbling through chaos as it lands in the stark reality of you. Are you going to be a peace builder in your life? Is Peace Corps for you? In President John F. Kennedy's inaugural address in January of 1961, Kennedy challenged the nation, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." And that was the beginning of the founding of the Peace Corps in its legislative and authoritative way. The executive order to create the Peace Corps was made on March 1st, 1961, and 6 months later, in August of 1961, volunteers were trained and going to the field in Ghana and Colombia, and volunteers trained to go to Tanganyika, the current Tanzania, went the following month. So this was a fast track program and continues today, 60 years later.
Greetings, my name is Sheldon Hurst, and I'm the curator for the ArtReach Gallery at First Congregational UCC in Portland, Oregon. Being the curator for this particular exhibition really began because my wife was in the Peace Corps in 1966 through 1968. She was in Tunisia, and during those years, her own experience was so enriching for our relationship and the whole experience of how we are in the world. Peace Corps has some really wonderful posters. And so I began to talk and think, well, what kind of posters do they have through the years? What things have we missed, and an opportunity to see and understand how Peace Corps was interpreted? So I began to look. I found and thought about, oh yeah, Peter Max had one, and some other people, well, it was really vague. To my fortune, I met some people from the Museum of Peace Corps Experience here in Portland, and I discovered that they were willing to help find other posters from all over the place. We were able to get 50 posters of all sorts. They ranged from the kind of thing that tries to get you to become a Peace Corps volunteer yourself, to celebrations of 50 years of Peace Corps or 30 years of Peace Corps. And then sometimes one of them even got to be a postage stamp in 1972. So you see that wide spectrum that interprets and tries to make real the value of a poster and the impression it makes on a variety of people. Let's go to take a look at one of these posters in particular. It's that Shepherd Ferry piece that was created in a very particular way to recognize two people who were engaged in agriculture. So we look at this and we see a woman holding very firmly but gently this plant that seems to have come from the field that's beneath her open hand. And in that plant, both she and the person from her country of service look closely at what that plant is. And though it seems to rise out of the earth itself, and then it has this peculiar circular flower, and as you look closely at it, it has a Peace Corps symbol right there in the center. And it's in a circle, and it seems to radiate like the sun itself. And those lines that go all the way and extend to the edge of the poster itself. On either side, you see plants. And those plants kind of define the nature of cultivation. Cultivation of the earth, so that the sky and the earth and the sun itself all work together with the engagement with the people in order to make the earth a fruitful resource for the people of that land. That's a great poster. And down at the bottom, all it says is Peace Corps. Consider another poster, Help Piece the World Together. The unknown designer literally pieces together words in this sentence, and we read it slowly because it doesn't focus on first glance. And you wonder what those words are meaning in the circle that they're contained in. And finally you make sense of it all. Help piece the world together. Peace becomes a verb, and it has to do with piecing through Peace Corps. It's a catchy little phrase that has a meaning that lasts beyond the reading and is realized in the motivation it gives to everyone. The promise of peace is realized through each of us participating in that process. One of the best values of this exhibition is for the non-Peace Corps knower who can get introduced to possibilities of cultivating, of promising, of engaging peacemaking and all its possibilities in our world.
The Peace Corps' message has always been that of serving for the sake of peace. The Peace Corps posters use pictures, quotes, and slogans for two reasons. One, to grab your attention, and second, so that you respond. I remember seeing a TV ad as a young girl in the 60s, and the TV ad was, "The toughest job you'll ever love." This poster here was from the 35th anniversary, and it says, "I am only one, but I am one. I cannot do everything, but I can do something." And at the very bottom of this poster is the slogan, "The toughest job you'll ever love." And that slogan inspired me. Would it even make a difference? The Statue of Liberty points out that by leaving the country, you would make it a better place. In Ecuador, I represented the United States to everyone I met. That was my job. The question I was frequently asked was, "What's Arnold like?" Our country was the face and actions of Hollywood. We are not Hollywood. We are just like you in more ways than not. Our desires, hopes, and loves for our families are the same. A decent job, fair pay, housing, education, and freedom. How can we be at odds with kindred spirit? The best part of this is going home and sharing this message. The message of peace comes full circle. I hoped that I had made a difference. We're glad we've had the opportunity to walk through the Artreach Gallery Posting Peace exhibit with you, and we hope you enjoyed thoroughly all the posters, all the slogans, and the ideas that Peace Corps has had over the years to help all of us serve peace.
Go yonder, and gather the people. Tell all the people that peace is a calm. Tell all the refugees they can come home again. Tell all the people that peace is a calm. Go yonder, and gather the people.